Vater is an acronym that stands for Vocabulary Acquisition Through Enhanced Reading. It is a simple process that, once mastered, will allow students to become responsible for their own vocabulary development while improving their reading comprehension. Vater teaches students to discern the meanings of unknown words, independent of dictionaries and outside experts, such as educators. The Vater process works on the principle that sound, structure, and context usually provide enough information about unknown words to extract their basic meaning. In order to do this, one need only locate and analyze some clues. The first type of clue is phonological. Gathering and analyzing this type of clue simply requires that one sound out and speak an unfamiliar word to see if its pronunciation brings to mind known words that may be related. The next clue category is structural. One can often gather a great deal of information about an unknown term by studying its prefixes, suffixes, and root. The immediate context, the sentence in which the unknown word appears, often provides information about a word in the form of a restricted or unrestricted clause, subordinating or coordinating conjunction, or by providing a definition. Readers should utilize all three types of clue, in the order in which they were given, every time they encounter an unfamiliar term. By the conclusion of the process, a reader should have some general theory about the term in question. To test this theory, readers must consider the extended context. This means that they should be willing to modify their theory about the term in question as they continue to read the remaining passage. First, they should ask themselves if their understanding of the word fits the main idea of the sentence in which it was located. If the answer is yes, the reader should consider whether the sentence continues to fit the main idea of the paragraph in which it was found. Finally, if the answer in both of these cases is yes, the reader should ask if the paragraph continues to fit the main idea in the passage in which it was found. If the answer is no to any of these questions, consider revising or modifying your theory in light of the new evidence. Now let's see how each process works individually. The word temporal is a term that might be unfamiliar to some readers. To look for phonological clues, one need only speak the word temporal aloud and ask, does the sound of this word remind me of any of the other words that I already know? One might recall temporary, which refers to an event or an effect that has an ending in time. One might also be reminded of tempo, which is the speed at which music is played. Unfortunately, one might also be reminded of temper, which refers to an agitated or calm state of mind. There are now three possible words that might provide a clue about the meaning of temporal, but one of them, temper, is very different from the other two. Which, if any of these words will help? Now is the time to search for structural hints. To search for clues in the structure of temporal, one must first break it down into its basic parts. A PDF file of the most common prefixes, suffixes, and roots is available on the website to which this video is attached. You may wish to pause the video and print off a copy, or open it in another tab. Temporal has 4 syllables. If a word has a prefix, it appears as the first syllable, and if it has a suffix, it will appear as the last syllable. Upon examining the list, one notes that temp is not a prefix. No clues are to be found at the beginning of the word, but fortunately, the last syllable is the suffix al, which means pertaining or relating to. Finally, we note that the first syllable, tempo, or tempor, is a root word meaning time. Therefore, temporal is a word that means relating or pertaining to time. Temporal must be related to temporary, and probably suggests something that is limited by time. At this point, there is evidence for a good theory, but the actual meaning of temporal will only be found in the way that it is used in its context. The immediate context can convey information in many ways, but one need focus on only 3 such avenues. First, look for words that convey the idea of contrast, such as however, but, on the other hand, on the contrary, or contrarily. Terms like these tell the reader that the meaning of the unknown word is the opposite, or at least is contrasted with another word, term, or idea in the sentence. Notice that the word temporal in the example 2 appears after the word but. This implies that temporal is the opposite, or is contrasted, with something in the first half of the sentence. If one knows that temporal has something to do with time, one looks for time-related terms in the first half of the sentence. The context shows us that temporal is the opposite of lasts forever. Therefore, temporal, in this context, means an effect that will end eventually. Cause and effect terms can also provide useful hints. Because, the cause, therefore, as a result, and similar terms suggest that the meaning of words can be found in its cause or its effect. Example 2 suggests that the reason that emotions are temporal is based in the fact that lovers do not live eternally. When taken together with the phonological and structural clues, the meaning of temporal falls into place. Finally, appositives, restrictive clauses, non-restrictive clauses, combined sentences using the word and, or sentences divided by semicolons provide added information. These sources can provide the most direct information about the meaning of unknown words or terms. At times, they may contradict earlier phonological and structural clues, especially when the context is subject-specific, such as in a discussion of medicine. Example 3 speaks for itself. Now that the detective work has produced a theory about the general meaning of the unknown word, it's time to apply the extended context test. One must ask 3 questions about the perceived meaning of a term. 1. Does it fit with the main idea of the sentence? 2. Does it fit the main idea of the paragraph? 3. Does it fit with the main idea of the passage as a whole? If the answer to these questions is yes, then the definition passes the context test of consistency, and the unknown word has probably been grasped well enough to aid reading comprehension. Now that you understand the process, use it. It will seem awkward, and it will take a ridiculous amount of effort at first. So did learning how to walk, speak, and tie your shoes. All of these efforts paid off, and so will the Vater method. If you will put in consistent effort, your vocabulary and reading comprehension will improve. As always, success or failure depends on you. Good luck.